It's gonna go. We are live on Mock Draft Live.
Finally, Seth was sitting here playing with his camera.
Yeah, it was totally me playing with my camera. Okay, like it wasn't me just saying, "Hey guys, are we ready? Can we go?"
He said, "Seth, please, we're ready to go."
The people are waiting. People are waiting for this. They've been looking forward to it. All right, this is an unveiling of Mock Draft Live, SUPERFLEX Rookie Draft Edition. And I'm just gonna say this right now. We are doing 4 rounds today, and Sleeper. I'm just gonna say it. There's some players that Sleeper needs to add here. So it might not be a pure, it might not be a pure draft the way we want to, but we're gonna do the best we can. And also, I will say this: I have not seen a 4-round mock rookie draft out there really anywhere. I did some digging and some research. It's possible I missed something, but I think we are among the first to do something like this. So we should be, I'm just saying, we pat our backs here before the show even starts. But that's what I'm doing. So I'm patting my back, or our proverbial backs, before the show even starts. So anyway, we have Tyler Knabley, Matt Babich, Jason Alwine on with us this evening. How we all doing, boys?
Fantastic. Ready to go. Ready to draft. Ready to, like you said, 4-round mock. I've been doing some underdog drafts, and maybe some of those players been drafting like round 20 will pop up in, I don't know, we're like round 3, round 4. So I've got some sleepers ready to go. I don't know about y'all, but there's one player, if you guys take him, we might have to organize a post mock draft trade because I feel so strongly about him.
Oh, that's fine. I was planning on taking Malachi Corley, so we can, we can talk about that. I have seen your Twitter.
Jason, how are you feeling about this mock draft that we're about to do?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I get to hopefully, right here in this 4th round, get to pick some sleeper from the Senior Bowl. That's kind of what I'm eyeing here, seeing who I saw down there that I get to talk about for a bit down at that 412 final pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. Be fun.
All right. So before we get going, I promise the draft is coming. All right. But if you're in the draft, please don't do what Matt Babich is doing right now. I saw him go in and go out. The little green dot needs to be by your name. Okay. Because we will shame you forever if you auto pick. Okay.
What are you talking about? What I did.
You're the green dot went away, and I thought you got distracted
right
by
there.
Some kind of highlight clip somewhere. I don't know what you do, but anyway, we're gonna do a sleeper ad before this gets started. All right, and then we'll have the draft. Okay, so if I can find the damn thing, God bless me. Did sleeper just go away? We might have to do underdog. We might have to make an underdog pivot. How many underdog drafts have you done, Tyler, so far?
I think we're out. I think it's like 45 or 48. We're somewhere in that range.
There we go. We gotta push. Oh, there's sleeper. All right, I stalled long enough. We got to push for that live stream that we talked about, the 24-hour, no eating, no sleeping live stream. Maybe that's coming, probably not. But anyway, here's a message from our friends at Sleeper before we get going here.
Hey, we're all starting new fantasy leagues all the time. And more often than not, where do we start our fantasy leagues at Player Profiler? On Sleeper. Because it's the best. You can imagine my excitement when I saw Sleeper rolled out. Sleeper picks, baby. And game stacking is the path to positive returns with these pick'em games. Find that sneaky shootout and set most of the players to go over their projection for that week. Or you find a game going to get dragged into the mud and take every member of the passing game for less than their projections that week. And if you pick up to 8, that's how you 100x your payout on Sleeper. It's called the Hail Mary. So if you use promo code Underworld, you get a $100 instant deposit match. Check out Sleeper's terms and conditions for details. These Sleeper picks are live in over 25 states. Yeah, buddy.
Sleeper. Yeah, buddy. Super Bowl is over, but Sleeper is what we're using tonight to draft on. So Sleeper is a great platform as well to host your fantasy league. And should we anything to say before we start this draft, or should we just start it?
Let's get it bopping.
All right, we're starting.
We got 40 people in here. We're ready to rock.
I hope Matty Qwim's ready because you know, for some reason he couldn't be on with us tonight, but whatever. Anyway, so we'll start the draft. And Matty Kiwoom is up. Now, the first thing, so he doesn't even hesitate. He doesn't even hesitate with Marvin Harrison. So how do we guys feel about that? Like, Matt, that probably makes your pick pretty obvious here, I would think.
Yeah, it does. I wasn't really prepared for this decision, really. So clearly, you know, Matty Kiwoom is aligned with me in that Marvin Harrison is a generational talent at the position, somebody who could vault into the top 10 receivers right away. And I think should be more debate between Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams than that, but you know, props to him for being so certain about it. That's why having the 101's a really good position this year, because if someone's really certain on a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Caleb Williams, then I'm happy to trade back a couple spots in this class. But in this case, I'm going to go with Caleb Williams. He's Caleb Williams, you know, like this guy's one of the most highly touted quarterback prospects that we've ever heard of. And year after year, we get guys like, you know, CJ Stroud surged, but the hype was not really there on either of them as prospects. And in another year, I'd be willing to be more certain on Marvin Harrison Jr. 101 overall, but not with the potential that's with Caleb Williams. And we're talking about a guy who can make the same CJ Stroudian leap. You know, he's already ranked top 10 fairly consensusly across Dynasty evaluations right now. So I'm going to take that immediate top 10 quarterback in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and he's going to be a Chicago Bear as well. So, and he's going to not a typical number 1 overall pick team. He's not going to the Carolina Panthers, who don't have any weapons for their quarterback, with a terrible offensive line. Like, the Bears already have some pieces there. And that's the direction it's trending anyway. All the noise is that the Bears, could they keep Justin Fields and Caleb Williams? Could they trade? They're asking for, you know, like Terry McLaurin and blah, 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 like in 3 firsts. And I'm just telling everybody right now that the Bears are going to take Caleb Williams. I'm 110% confident in that. And if they don't, you'll see my reaction live when we're at the draft. If they take Drake May and over Caleb Williams or some bullshit like that, I don't know what I'll do. I don't know what's gonna happen. But
Tyler, are you gonna? Okay.
I was letting him.
Okay.
It was his little spiel. I had it already. I had it primed up.
Look at JJ. Aaron St. Dennis firing on JJ
McCarthy. Just gets fired off directly after I picked Drake May. The Drake May pick, it just feels safe. Kind of a guy that's getting a lot of like you said, there's some people out there who do like Drake May over Caleb Williams, and it sounds like I was watching I think it's a Pat McAfee clip, and Darius Butler went golfing with Drake May. So I don't know if that means anything, but he said he seems like a great guy and everything to go along with being a franchise quarterback. But Drake May, if he goes to the Commanders, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, maybe not as Cliff Kingsbury feels like one of those guys, better as a coordinator than probably a head coach. So this feels like an easy decision to me for Drake May. And we got some more picks flying off the board, so I'll let us get to those.
JJ McCarthy? Can we talk about it?
Go ahead, talk about it.
No chance. First of all, Aaron, how much would you like to put on this? Because name your price. Name your price.
What do you mean? Name your price. What do we talk?
I'll take any wager within reason that you want on JJ McCarthy going 8th to Atlanta. $100. All right, put it on the board. We have it live here. I'll let everyone get back to it. But
so you guys are making bets on the stream. We're gonna get demonetized like within the first 10 minutes of the stream.
That's illegal. You can't do that.
I have no idea.
I don't think there's. I've looked at the monetization. I don't think there's anything there.
Oh, you do? Okay. Anyway, he's going. So the belief is with that pick that Atlanta takes him at pick number 8. Or I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? I mean, there's a bunch of quarterback needy teams. It's not the craziest thing in the world, Matt.
It's not.
It's like JJ McCarthy's I think he's got a lot of good skills, at that quarterback that I really like.
When you don't excel really at anything in the college level, I have a hard time believing that we're talking about Roman Wilson as a sleeper. So either JJ McCarthy is really good or Roman Wilson stinks. There's literally only one answer, because if Roman Wilson is good and JJ McCarthy is good, they would have had some better stats together. They were not playing elite.
but they ran the ball a ton too, though. Like
that's what I was gonna say, Jason.
It's a very balanced. As the resident Michigan fan, it's a very, very balanced attack from that offense, and it's Big Ten football as well that I know Seth can attest to. So you can't look at stats for a player like that. What you can look at is a guy who's shown up in the big moments, beat Ohio State every single year, won the national championship, played well in all the biggest games, and clearly knows how to manage a football game, playing under an NFL head coach and Jim Harbaugh. Is 1.5 an early pick for JJ McCarthy? Yes. I was hoping to get him at the 112, to be honest. But I think that might be what we see, especially if he takes that early pick. Don't necessarily think it's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sneaks into that first round. But he's done enough by simply not being bad at the Senior Bowl, like Michael Penix and Bo Nix were, to where in these super flex drafts, he's gonna fly up the board. Because no one, I think, by the end of this process is going to be comfortable in Nix or Penix, and we're going to look for that fourth guy, and it's probably going to be JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I will say, like, I think Roman Wilson, like 700 yards, like in a run heavy scheme is really good production from a wide receiver. I will say that. So I'm going to defend Aaron. I won't defend him. He's in the chat saying Roman Wilson stinks. Hurts me a little bit. That kind of, I can't go that far. I think Roman Wilson's really good. Yes, but anyway, but JJ McCarthy is kind of a draft wild card where if Atlanta takes him at 8, would I be shocked? No, because it's the quarterback position and they need a quarterback and they've got a lot of talent there. And if that happens, you're probably talking about Jay McCarthy. It's a conversation that JJ McCarthy goes, depending on the landing spot of Drake May and Jaden Daniels. Like, would you rather have JJ McCarthy with Atlanta, or would you rather have Drake May with New England? You know what I mean?
May with New England.
Well, it's a conversation for me
at that point. I
don't care about the surrounding cast if he's not that good of a quarterback.
We have
been tainted by Brock Purdy.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's not a good comp. JJ McCarthy has
a game manager.
But JJ McCarthy has wheels too, though. Like he's a fast player. It's a different profile. And I think that's a bad comparison.
It's not a direct comp. What I'm saying is we're talking about people that aren't going to change your team. This is the Steelers drafting Kenny Pickett in the first round because he was a quarterback and they needed a quarterback.
That's fair. But the Falcons, all they really need is a quarterback. And I do think a quarterback with JJ McCarthy's skill set would fit into that system pretty well. I would just hope that they maybe trade back and accrue some value instead of taking him there at the 108. But he's certainly a good quarterback. Maybe not an elite quarterback, but a good quarterback.
All right. Well, I'll lay it to bed there. Tyler, you took Trey Benson with 2.4. Talk to us a little bit about that. And Malachi Corley going at 2.7.
Yeah,
so.
Not great. I was gonna take Corley, but for the sake of what an actual mock draft would look like, I just decided to go with Benson. But Trey Benson is my most drafted player. Like I said, I've done 45, 48 underdog drafts that I've done. He's my most drafted player. I think around 48%. I have drafted Trey Benson every chance I've gotten. Because if you turn on this kid's film, it's long run after long run. He is a home run hitter. Like he's not gonna if he gets in the open space, he's gone. I guarantee you this kid runs at least in the low 4.4s. He has blazing speed and he has the size profile that you like to see in a running back. He played at Florida State in a pretty good conference. Maybe not this year, ACC a little down year for the ACC, but still a Power 5 conference nonetheless. I just like the way his speed. I think it's going to project to the next level, and he has the size profile. So Trey Benson's my RB1 in the class just for off those two things alone. I absolutely love his tape. He has speed, power, all that stuff. So Trey Benson for me, I can't get enough of him. Cannot get enough.
Yeah, I'll tack onto that. Trey Benson to me, like out of all these running backs, and I actually like this running back class probably a little bit more than a lot of people do. You know, like Trey Benson to me is the running back that I think at the end of the day, player profiler, like our model is probably going to like the most if I had to guess, because he's got things in this class. Like he's got that size, like it's 6 foot, about 215 pounds, has the speed. And, when you turn on the film, like Tyler says, I think in the open field, like he's got that home run hitting ability. And for fantasy football, there's a lot of upside there with Trey Benson. And at the 2-4, with as the second running back coming off the board, I think that's great value in a rookie draft, in a SUPERFLEX rookie draft. So we got, let's see, Adonai Mitchell, Matt Babich, he took at the 2-2. Matty Kiwoom took Bowman
Love Adonai
at the 2-1. Brooks, that's a good pick by Aaron St. Dennis at the 2-5. I like Brooks a lot. Penix falls all the way to 2-8. That's, that was somebody that if he fell to the 2-10, that I would have, at the 2-10, I would have taken a shot on Penix for sure. I'm not the biggest Penix fan, and the Senior Bowl did not help his case at all, but I think he's an accurate thrower of the football as Marshawn Lloyd comes off the board there. So, Matt, do you want to talk about Marshawn Lloyd a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you heard the grumblings of a man who was at the Senior Bowl watching Marshawn Lloyd. So that could be really everything you need to know about the guy. I mean, his name is circling the Twitterverse right now. A lot of hype going behind Marshawn Lloyd. He's very explosive. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I am scared of is he has a tendency to Trent Richardson every now and then. Doesn't really see the hole that's there and tries to force something, where he's kind of assigned to go run. So there's that vision problem that people have been bringing up, but most of the peripherals are there for Marshawn Lloyd. He's got a great athletic profile. Mm-hmm. I like him to be a guy who's going to test well and land as a day 2 pick to maybe a good landing spot. It was really tough between him and Jaylen Polk, but I love Marshawn Lloyd.
That's what I was hoping would slide back to me all the way at the end there. So upset with that pick. I think he's certainly a guy that's going to start sneaking into the second rounds by the time the combine comes around. He's just incredibly explosive. So I think getting him in the 3rd round now, certainly a value. I did want to ask Seth about Devontae Walker, because that's kind of who I was debating between him and Roman Wilson last round. I'm sure you were kind of there too. I saw in your queue. I was wondering what ultimately led you to that decision between the two.
Oh, you guys can see my queue. That was not smart of me. That was not smart of me.
Go over to roster, maybe.
Maybe the roster.
We'll table talking.
The thought process as it's unfolding. Yeah, what a dumb thing for me to do on the live stream. But anyway, Devontae Walker, like a lot of wide receivers in this class, prototypical outside wide receiver, physical, good at the catch point, like just a lot of things that even though I really like Roman Wilson, I have Devontae Walker ranked ahead of him right now. I think Devontae Walker, I would have probably taken him over Laube McConkey and Malachi Corley. That's where I have him right now. But again, we have a long way to go in this process. So getting him there at the 210 was just kind of value I couldn't pass up. Mm-hmm. So again, I've got some guys that I really like still in the queue, but yeah, Devontae Walker's got a lot of the physical tools that I think translate pretty well to the NFL. And Xavier Worthy, I know he doesn't have the size that we're looking for, but if you talk about upside, with the 4.29 speed, I have him just a notch ahead of Adonai Mitchell. And I know that's polarizing to some people because I like Adonai Mitchell too, but Xavier Worthy's the receiver in this class that could really hit big. And I'm a big fan of Troy Franklin too. I think there's a kind of a drop off at the 110, if I'm being honest, in a format like this, after, all the quarterbacks come off the board and then Bowers and then Franklin, it's kind of I think there's definitely a tier drop off there as far as fantasy goes, sure. But it's my pick and I should probably shut up and make it. I'm just gonna go with a guy that I like and nobody else seems to like, and that's Jermaine Burton from Alabama. And it's Jermaine Burton produced all 4 years at Georgia and Alabama. 4.31 speed, great route runner, great feet. I could see him testing really well at the combine and shooting up draft boards, like shooting up into the early 3rd round, maybe even late 2nd round, depending on how some of these drafts go. Brendan Rice would have been nice at the 310. That's a nice pick. So anyway, so I go receiver here in my draft. But to be honest, the 110, the reason I chose it was because I thought it would be a challenging spot, and it's turned out to be a pretty challenging place to draft, because I would say like Troy Franklin, definitely a guy I would have taken at 110. Guys like Malachi Corley, I just said I was happy with Devontae Walker, so I'm happy with Devontae Walker. But Jermaine Burton, also kind of a tier down from Leggett and Rice for me. So anyway, and again, this is early. This is really super early in the process too. So this is not. I'm still working out some of the kinks. This is my first mock draft, so take it easy on me, chat.
Pretend
Pretend
Joe Budden meme.
What is
I've been waiting, baby. Jaylen Polk.
Matty Kiwoom says pretend Watson is Jaylen Wright.
There you go.
So, all right, that's
right.
fair.
That's fair. We were talking about that before the stream, that Jaylen Wright not there.
Yeah. So there's definitely some players that will get added, as this is like the Monday after the Super Bowl. So we'll get some players added. Sleeper will update the roster or the list of players for sure. Let's go through these drafts as they get completed. So Matt, you're up first. You went Caleb Williams, Adonai Mitchell, Marshawn Lloyd, and then Jaylen Polk for your last pick. How you feeling about coming away with those 4 players at the 102?
Well, considering I was looking at Jaylen Polk at the 3-2, which was a little early for me given the tier, but getting him at 4-2 again, really excited about that. Polk is a guy that isn't going to hit all of the analytical check marks. He's a little bit of a late breakout, but the dude can flat out ball. In Washington, not the most quarterback heavy talent before Penix came to town. So, maybe give him a little bit of a break for that. But Cody Carpentier comps his play style to Adam Thielen. And if he can be that kind of slot master, he's one of the most successful college receivers against zone this year. Then he can make a long career for himself as a fantasy asset given his skill set. So really like the 4 people I came away with here. Marshawn Lloyd, Jaylen Polk, Adonai Mitchell, ton of upside in the backgrounds.
Good draft.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Everyone else is everyone's overwhelmed with enthusiasm for my team. So
I was
maybe the next person, Tyler, can go over his team and we can ridicule him instead.
Well, since I had my entire queue pulled up, I was the whole time. I feel like this draft has been tainted. You guys saw my whole process, but anyway, good explanation there, Matt. I was concentrated on making my Theo Johnson pick in the 4th round.
Love that.
So I feel like that's a pretty good value. Like getting him at tight end 5 off the board. I feel pretty good about it. So let's go through yours, Tyler Knable. You go Drake May at the 1-4, Trey Benson, Ray Davis, and then the tight end from Minnesota, who I honestly don't know how to say his name.
It's Brevin Spanford, but I'm not drafting Brevin Spanford. Another guy who's not in the pool to be selected, Javon Baker from UCF. So that's who I drafted.
Okay.
Instead of Spanford, I put that in the chat.
Oh my God, they don't have Javon Baker in here.
No Javon Baker. I was looking for him.
Brevin
Spanford drafted him that I missed.
I like Brevin Span. I like that. I just can't say his name.
Yeah, Spanford, Golden Gopher. Go Ghost. I was at the Axe game this year. It was depressing. Nonetheless, the rest of my draft, Drake May felt like a pretty easy pick at 104. Definitely not considering McCarthy over May. Maybe Neighbors. I do really, really like Neighbors. Everyone that talks about Neighbors says that he's closer to Harrison than a Dunze. So I kind of respect the community's opinion on Neighbors, and definitely a guy I was considering, but I feel like Superflex, just go with Drake May. And then I talked about Trey Benson. 3rd round pick, though. This is another. I have 2 guys in this draft. It is Malachi Corley and it is Ray Davis. Ray Davis is the first. I think it might be one of the first just highlights film I watched. And this guy, I don't even know what his play comp is because he's big, but he's a little more small. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10", but he's built and he's fast. Like he can make people miss. He can run people over. But my favorite part about him is his vision. He has really good vision. There's this one goal line run where he literally, you can tell, it's kind of like how you were talking about with Marshawn Lloyd, where he kind of goes he just misses wide open holes. Even though if the run was supposed to be off tackle, even there's a cutback lane, he doesn't take it. Ray Davis is the exact opposite. There is a run where it's like an outside zone to the right, and he has the vision where he cuts it back all the way back off the left tackle on the goal line. And it's a beautiful clip. I might have to post it on Twitter, but I love Ray Davis. I don't think I can rank him high enough. I would rank him as my RB1 if I wouldn't get laughed out of the Twitter sphere, but absolutely love Ray Davis. And then, like I said, Javon Baker at the 404, not Brevin Spanford, even though I do love me some Spanford. Just great production profile at UCF, and I'm sure he would have gotten higher if he was actually on the sleeper pick. So the sleeper draft pool. So yeah, that's my draft. Feel pretty good about it. Quarterback, receiver, 2 running backs. Feels great.
Yeah, I don't know why I said I couldn't say Spanford. I was thinking his name was something else. I think I got him confused with somebody else, but Spanford is not hard to say. I don't know why I said that. So my draft, I guess I'm up next. I kind of talked about it a little bit already, but Xavier Worthy's got that speed, kind of a rare player. He's undersized in this draft, but also kind of a tier down from those first 9 players. I feel like this is pretty sharp, at least how I have them ranked. So Worthy is kind of a tier down for me to that, tier 3 kind of, because I would put Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison kind of in their own land in this draft. They're just kind of special players, at least for me. But Worthy's a nice consolation prize at the 110. Devontae Walker, I feel, is a really good outside receiver, projects really well. There's a lot that translates well to the NFL. Same thing with Jermaine Burton. If you put on some Jermaine Burton tape, I highly encourage you to do that, especially in the SEC championship game against Georgia. There's a play where he was just completely out leveraged. If his route would have broke to the outside, he could have gotten open easily, but the defender was playing him to the inside and he got open anyway. So he was out leveraged, and it's a thing of beauty. I'm a huge fan of Jermaine Burton, and I don't know why Cody is fighting me on that. And then Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson's a monster, and I think he could be a really big sleeper at the tight end position. And a lot of people think, it's just Brock. This is such an interesting rookie draft because a lot of people think outside of Bowers and Sanders, there's not much at tight end. I think Sanat and Johnson are actually really good players. They are very underrated. And same goes with some of these running backs. You were talking about Ray Davis, Tyler. I really like Ray Davis from what I've seen so far. Matt, Marshawn Lloyd, same story. I really like what I see on tape from Marshawn Lloyd. And then you have Dylan Laube, who was taken in the 4th round, who Maddie loves. And when you watch, the stats are just as a receiver out of the backfield, and he's going to play some slot. So for fantasy football, that's a sleeper that you need to have on your radar in any format, especially a PPR format. I'm the more I look into this class, I'm just I'm going to be able to get some good receivers. I'm going to be able to get some running backs I like. I might even get a tight end super late that I like too, taking a flyer on. I think I'm getting more and more hyped for this class. What Jason, what do you talk to us about your draft? Because you started with Corum, then you went Roman Wilson, Michigan Homer boy over there. No, I'm just kidding.
With it. Just went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to echo on what you said. Just there is a lot of value to be found at the end of these drafts. Dylan Laube was picked, but Rasheen Ali, who stood out at Senior Bowl before getting injured, wasn't even picked. Michael Wiley, not even on sleeper. Dajan Edwards out of UGA, not even on sleeper. Both of those guys had great Senior Bowls. All the running backs at the Senior Bowl were fantastic. So I think that those guys, especially when they get added to sleeper, we're just going to genuinely, I think what I'm trying to say is go trade for your 4th, 5th, 3rd round picks in your rookie drafts. You're going to be very, very happy with what you could get really at all the positions. We could probably start going on and on at what you could find. As for my draft, I went with Blake Corum kind of reluctantly there at the 112. At that point, it was just kind of a tough decision. Like I said, I don't believe really in either Bo Nix or Michael Penix, so I didn't want to go the quarterback route there. I love Vlad McConkey's skill set, but I don't think he's going to be that great of a fantasy producer. And honestly, I don't know enough about Braylon Allen and Jonathan Brooks for me to go against the Michigan running back that I've been watching for the last couple of years that I know has a nose for the end zone. So I just went with that guy, and we'll see what happens. But I do think ultimately I want to see where he lands before I get excited about picking him in the 1st round. Roman Wilson, however, I don't have that belief. I think that this guy is going to be amazing wherever he lands. It might take a few games as he figures out just the NFL in general, but I don't think it's even going to take the full season. I think the second half of the season could be really, really good for him. And he shined so much at the Senior Bowl, and it wasn't just short routes, intermediate routes. He has speed to burn. He was a track star. He has amazing hands, making one-handed grabs almost every single day, amazing route running. Interviewed well as well, clearly intelligent, driven. He took a flight to class for a month when he was still in school from different island in Hawaii to another island in Hawaii. He's just a hard worker. He's capable. He's skilled. He had 54% of JJ McCarthy's passing touchdowns last season. He's a really good football player. I was excited to be able to get him there. And then kind of the end of the draft, it is what it is. I went with Jamari Thrash again, just kind of sticking with what I know. He had a pretty solid Senior Bowl. I think he'll probably get drafted day 3, maybe end of day 2, with a decent landing spot. He was a really, really good route runner, and I think in the right spot could be successful. So kind of just went with him. I was debating him with Theo Johnson to just to kind of just echo what you were saying, Seth. He's a really, really good tight end with great size and speed. So I'm excited to see where he lands, because I do think if he gets opportunity, he's going to be good. Ultimately went Thrash. And then this quarterback pick at the end, I actually went with Carter Bradley. He's not in sleeper, just chose Sam Hartman because he has beautiful hair. But Carter Bradley had to go with the standout quarterback from the Senior Bowl for me. He's a guy that just shows up on the biggest points. Again, he had a really, really good Senior Bowl despite no one really giving him a chance. And then in college, despite being from Southern Alabama, beat UCLA, beat Oklahoma State, gave Notre Dame a run for their money when he was at Tulane. Just a competitive guy. He has really good size. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, and he's Gus Bradley's son. So he understands football. And if at the end of the draft you can get a solid backup quarterback that could come in with an injury, I'll do it. I don't think he has crazy ceiling or anything, but I do think he'll stay in the football team as probably a quarterback 2 for a decent time, maybe get you some starts. And in SUPERFLEX, that's all you can ask for. So Carter Bradley is how I rounded this thing out.
Love it. Why don't we wrap up? We'll go around the horn. Give us like one player that you're gonna be just over, like you can't get enough of in your drafts, at least this early in the process, and then give us one player that you're not you're gonna be way below consensus on. So basically, like one truther and one fade. And we'll start with you, Matt Babich, because you were very salty today. So I'll give you another opportunity to get anything off your chest, like your JJ McCarthy hate.
Yeah,
I'll give you another shot to get it, to explain yourself.
I'll be underweight on JJ McCarthy.
There you go. I figured that's what you do.
There's not much more to add to that. He's a facade to the team that drafts him. Good luck. You're not getting anything special. But Brian Thomas Jr. is something special, and I just every year the receivers that end up in the back of the first round, we think to last year, like the Jordan Addison types. I think Addison was probably pushing up maybe closer to 1.7 by the time the actual draft happened. But when we get the pre-NFL draft value on some of these guys, and landing spot shakes up so much, and being able to get Brian Thomas Jr. in the back of the first round right now, I really love. So he's a guy I'm going to be attacking until he jumps the shark.
Jason, one fade and one truther.
I'll be fading Michael Penix and Bo Nix, as I already mentioned. I'm just not going to pick them. Going to go for a skill player if I'm at the end of my drafts and those are sitting there. And I'm going to be heavily attacking Marshawn Lloyd. I really do think that he belongs in the second round. And with the right landing spot and a really good combine, we might be seeing him go in the first. So that's a guy I'm really keeping my eye on.
Tyler.
I've mentioned his name since second one of the stream. Now I've talked about him. Malachi Corley is my guy, and here's why. This guy is, if you turn on his 2022 tape and his 2023, the first I did a tweet about this. The first thing you notice is the absurd number of screens that they threw for this guy. Like an absurd number, like those tunnel screens, those middle screens that always seem to work in like high school and college, but I feel like I never see in the NFL. Like he probably had like 4 of those a game. Like it's almost his entire highlights. He's the yak king. He plays with, like, he has the most juice in the class, and by juice I mean he plays with the most fuck you attitude than any other player in the draft. And it's funny too. I tweeted that, like I said, the FU part. And his girlfriend actually liked that tweet, which is funny enough. And I know it's his girlfriend because I clicked on the bio and it says, I only made this page to support my boyfriend. And all the likes and all the retweets are Malachi Corley, which I thought that was funny. So that's an inside source that this is the kind of mentality that this guy plays with. I mean, that's straight from the source. So I cannot get enough of him. And it's not like he can't run routes. He can run routes. He had a sub 5% drop rate, has good hands. He had 8 catches, and like the knock on him, like some people may say, oh, he played for Western Kentucky. They don't play anybody. He had 8 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown against Ohio State this year. So, I mean, that's a pretty good stat line for a guy against a top-tier college football powerhouse. So, Malachi Corley to the moon. I would draft him. I don't even know, because it's like if you say you draft him at the end of the first, like people just look at you crazy. But like I think it's going to be the landing spot, because like if he can get in one of like these kind of, this, like the Miamis, or like maybe with the Rams, like somewhere where they're going to use him and like utilize his skill set, like then I don't know where, like I might draft him 101. I don't know. So, but the guy that I won't have a lot of, and I think you said you like this guy, Seth, Jonathan Brooks. I just don't see it on the film. I just don't see it. I don't know why I don't like him. I've tried to be open, but there's something about it where, like, I'm not saying I've never drafted him, but people are talking about him like RB1 in the class, and I just don't see RB1 or RB2. I would take, I think, Trey Benson over him. I think I would take Braylon Allen, and maybe even Bucky Irving's a guy that I love, former Gopher too. So I know a little bit about Bucky Irving. So I think, yeah. So Malachi Corley to the moon, and then I'm fading Jonathan Brooks.
And I'll wrap it up, and we'll get to some comments too, some of your comments in the chat. So thank you so much for commenting and watching along with us tonight. We're going to have more of these from all kinds of different content creators. Theo's going to hop on here. Maybe even the Podfather is going to hop on a mock draft live. So we'll see. Anyway, my draft, Xavier Worthy. Well, we're not talking about my draft. We're talking about a player that I like and a player that I don't like. We already talked about my draft. I'm just gonna tell you that Roman Wilson and Jermaine Burton are probably going to be 2 guys I'm going to have a ton of. Roman Wilson, I think, is this year's Jayden Reed, the guy that could fall to the 3rd round that you're just going to want to scoop him up there every time because it's a 3rd round pick in a SUPERFLEX rookie draft. Jason Smart, he's not going to let him fall to the 3rd round even in February, but he will. Like I could almost, I mean, obviously a lot depends on the draft capital that he gets, but if he falls to like where Jayden Reed got picked 50th overall by the Green Bay Packers and he still fell to the 3rd round. So if Roman Wilson gets drafted mid 2nd round, it gets decent draft capital, maybe late 2nd round, then he's, like there are players that are just going to get taken ahead of him. Maybe some of these running backs get steamed up. I could see Xavier Legette, Rice being drafted ahead of him. These are players that got drafted in the mid 3rd round, which I think Legette, like falling that far, is pretty telling. I think that's probably too far for him to fall. So Roman Wilson and Jermaine Burton are 2 players I'm going to be overweight on. And I'm just going to tell you, and this is going to make some people exit out of the video immediately, unsubscribe, dislike the video. Braylon Allen looks like AJ Dillon to me. He's not good in the passing game. He's not good running outside the tackles. He's just like an in between the tackles. He's not shifty. He doesn't make a lot of people miss. You know, like his size. I mean, I know he's big, and I know supposedly he runs like a 4.4 40, something crazy like that. But everybody was saying the same stuff about AJ Dillon. Like Braylon Allen's probably going to get taken in the second round. People are probably going to steam him up your draft. Like he's probably going to get drafted pretty high. I could see him getting even drafted higher than I could see him being the first running back off the board in your rookie drafts, depending on landing spot, depending on whatever. And I just see a very limited skill set for him. Like look at his receiving stats from this past year. It's ridiculously low, like the efficiency, and he's just not good in the passing game. So I'm going to be underweight on Braylon Allen, and I don't care what Theo Greminger says.
Can we get to the chat and crown me already?
No,
it's coronation time
because
they saying you won.
Cody, are you grading? Are you grading like on like
that's easy work?
Grading? Are you grading the way you should be, Cody Carpentier? Because is it easier to draft from the 1-2? Taking I got Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison in my back pocket.
Everyone had a shot at Jalen Polk. All right, it's not my fault that he landed at 4.2. I can't control that.
Cody has a soft spot for Adam Thielen, so it's like,
he's a good fantasy asset for years. All right, but anyway. Cody did call me out with the Brian Thomas Jr. comment, and so I just found his prospect overview on Roster Watch. So I'm gonna, if Cody's telling me that he's not special, then I'm gonna have to. I haven't really watched. I've watched highlights of Brian Thomas Jr. I'll be honest in front of everybody. But
all right, so this whatever, Cody, Crown Babich, the way, blah blah blah. The Nads need to make a comeback. If you don't know who the Nads are, new age alpha dogs, may need to make a comeback with some of these ADPs. Lord, this title belt is heavy. If you weren't paying attention to Mock Draft Live, we did this cool WrestleMania thing, and then then it ended with the basement of the draft house getting flooded with poopy water, and that was the thing that happened. And then Mock Draft Live was over, and I suspect that Aaron Stewart probably clogged the pipes because he didn't want to lose to me in our head-to-head mock draft that we were going to do. But anyway, the new age alpha dogs, aka Matty Kiwoom, Seth Dewald, and Cody Carpentier. We'll have to get them on the Mock Draft Live. I'm sure that we can make that happen. Anyway, I think this is a good spot to end. Does anybody have any final words of wisdom for the chat or any comments that we didn't get to?
No, just remember to go get your 4th and 5th round picks, everyone.
Yes, this is a PSA. You need 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks. Some Dynasty League managers will throw them away. Go get them. That you're going to be able to get some great players there as well. Matt, Tyler, anything else before we close?
Winner stays on, so I'll see y'all next week.
Well, you're not. Well, that's actually not in the schedule. So
it's not how it works. Actually,
it's not how programming works around here. But anyway, all right. So I'm trying out this new catchphrase at the end of shows. You guys ready for it?
No.
I don't know if I'm going to retire. Nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers because, let's face it, I won the day with that. I was ahead of the game with nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on. We all know that came to fruition.
Yeah, you and Jimmy Kimmel.
If Aaron Rodgers was playing for the Chiefs, they wouldn't have made it past the first round of the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers would have been given his receivers.
How much airtime have we dedicated to Aaron
Rodgers?
You're right.
This is why people tune in. This is why the folks tune in.
We all know he only cares about himself. And that's, how much evidence in the column do we need at this point? But anyway, I beat that. We all know. So I'm thinking about retiring that.
Christian Watson.
And I'm thinking about ending shows with this new one. And that's Wiseman for Heisman, baby. Wiseman for Heisman. That's right. The 40-year-old, 23-year-old accountant that played running back for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And he had like 3.8 yards per carry. The Hawkeyes finished like 6-6 that year. Unbelievable. Nobody knows about it, but you should go look up Mark Wiseman.
I was going to his electric catchwiseman.
I think Aaron Rodgers.
Stick with Aaron Rodgers. All right. Nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. Wiseman for Heisman. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.